Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library. Today we get to talk about another novel. This is the second book in the X-Wing series. This one's called Wedge's Gamble. So this book is focusing on Rogue Squadron and their mission to basically aid the New Republic in capturing Coruscant. Currently it's still under control of the Imperials, and obviously they're wanting to take control over it and have that be the planet where the New Republic is, similar to the Old Republic. And so Wedge Antilles, he's obviously back again leading his team, and they're assigned to infiltrate Coruscant and kind of do a lot of espionage and everything to set the stage, so that'll be a lot easier, so the New Republic can actually come in, invade, and do what they got to do to take it over. And so what's interesting with this book is what I think Stackpole does a really good job of, is that he does, I guess a good job of doing a sequel, in that it keeps what was working of the other one, where it had a lot of the classic, aerial dogfights that you'd expect from a series called X-Wing, but it also in this one now has a lot of ground-based things. It's kind of like, I think of the Rogue Leader video game on the GameCube. You had your established dog fights, but now you have your ground battles, and so it's really interesting to see that being played out here and adding that into the mix. So it's really good action. It's really good. Again, similar to the other one, it kept me engaged. Again, I think I said it in my other review of the first book, but this was a series I held off on for a very, very long time, and I'm kind of ashamed that I did, because it ended up being a really action-packed, story. But the characters are good too, and that's obviously a huge strength of this book. Wedge Antilles, obviously being a standout, he's the main movie character here, and it kind of allows him to have more character development, in the sense of he really does care about his squadron. You get that impression. It's very, it's evident. He cares about that. He wants the best for the New Republic, but at the same time, he's also, looking out for what's going to be the best interest of his squadron mates. And so it's kind of interesting, because you get to see him really try and balance those two, ideologies. And so it's really interesting. And obviously Cornhorn, you're going to get more with him, because he's the central character of this. It's, again, just building him up more and more to where you get to know him. And again, this is the series that really made people, obviously aware of him. You could maybe make the argument that more people liked him, or really grew to like him, in I, Jedi. I would argue, I think it really started here. I think for some people, maybe that tipped it. But again, I'm not the biggest Cornhorn fan, so someone who is, feel free to correct me, or tell me what what was it for you. I'd be curious to hear that. So again, like I said, this one is much more on covert stuff. There's a really cool undercover mission that happens on Coruscant, which is just prime. We've seen that now in later expanded universe, but again, this being this early on, we didn't get that much in Coruscant, especially because in the original trilogy, it didn't really appear until the 97 special edition, which we aren't even there yet. In chronology-wise, we're still in 96. And so it's interesting to see that from a publishing perspective of, them doing that in these books. Coruscant is obviously a really, deep world with different layers, quite literally, and so it's really, really interesting to see that. And again, this is one of the first, if not the first, expanded universe piece that actually covered in that. So it really kind of creates like a noirish. I almost think of in the sense of not really horror, but the atmosphere and the environment of like Alien, where it's different levels and different areas of the ship. It kind of felt like that with with those moments there. Again, it's not horror, but just kind of that whole area of exploring these different areas. I don't know. That's just what came to my mind when I was reading it. So it's definitely, it's really doesn't feel slow. It really didn't feel like there was anything a lot that I'm like, it felt pointless. I guess some other things I'm like, maybe not as enough love given to more of the support characters, but I think Aaron Alston does a really good job of picking up on that later on when he takes over. So that's just something there. But honestly, is this an essential read? I think so, yes. I think an essential, obviously, if you're reading this series, but I think it's also an essential read if you're not, because this is going to explain to you how the New Republic did actually take back Coruscant. It's established, even in the films, that Coruscant is the headquarters of the Empire. So how does the New Republic come and take it over? This gives you the answer. And so it's a really, really good read. And again, it's a cool kind of twist where you're adding, new things to it, but keeping what a lot of people liked. And I think it's a really good book. I think I might actually like it better than the first one. It's one of those, I think X-Wing for me is just one of those series where it just keeps getting better and better the more you read it. So, and then each book goes along, I think it gets stronger. So, yeah, a great read. So highly, highly recommend it. But folks, that is all the time I have for today, and I'll see you next time with another episode.